Hey guys, this is Jacques from MakuluLinux. I just wanted to update you guys on the latest news on the upcoming KDE version. This version has officially hit beta. I've sent the beta version out to the testers. Now, what beta really means is that pretty much everything you see today is fairly final. There is one or two changes I might make to the software. Really depends on what gets reported back to me. But all in all, what you see today is pretty much what you're going to be seeing in the final edition. From this point forward, it's mostly polishing and bug fixing and that kind of thing. It's not really making any kind of major changes to the system. Okay, because a lot of the changes between the last version and this version is mostly back end, I did put the list of changes into the footnotes of this video. So just below the video, but above the comments, that little info section, just in the YouTube info section, if you actually go look there, I've put the changes in there. Just click the show more button and you'll see the list of changes if you know you want to go into great detail of what's changed. So I'm going to make this video and I'm going to sort of just cover everything. I know the guys that watched the last few videos, you might be bored the first minute or two. I'm sorry for that. The new guys, you will love everything that you see now, but it's important for me to cover everything because this being beta, I need to kind of show it from an overview point of view, if that makes any kind of sense. Okay, so I want to start off with the desktop. When you first boot up MakuluLinux KDE edition, you're going to see this beautiful desktop. It's not very much unlike the XFCE or the Cinnamon version. Both of those have a beautiful wallpaper, clock and quotes, but unlike those, I've put the clock and quotes on the left side of the screen, not on the right, and of course the position is not exactly the same. You'll notice, like the XFCE version, there's a lot of transparency here. The bottom panel is transparent, the clock and calendar is completely transparent, the quotes is semi-transparent, the menu is transparent. You'll notice a lot of transparency all over, and I'll get to that in a minute. I did notice one of the guys commented on the last video and said that the menu is overlapping with the clock, and therefore with the transparency it's hard to see. What I actually should have mentioned, or maybe what the user didn't realize, is that I'm actually running this inside a virtual box when I make these videos. It's just easier to make them that way. And the problem with virtual box is that the resolution is much lower than your actual monitor. So this clock and these quotes actually sit much higher on the screen. When you're actually in a much bigger resolution or standard resolution, this clock, calendar and the quotes all shift quite a bit up, and therefore the menu, the quotes sort of start over here near the top of the menu, so they don't really they don't really interfere with the menu. It's so I wouldn't stress about that too much, and even if you did fill your screen all the way across the board with icons everywhere, which most people don't do, and for some reason it did bother you, you can always change the theme. There's nothing stopping you from changing the theme at all to something less transparent. Okay, come out standard out of the box, it will be like this, transparent, because it just really flows with the rest of the desktop. But it doesn't mean you have to use it that way. Okay, but like I said, the clock and the quotes are much higher up on the screen on a standard resolution, so don't stress too much about that. Okay, so we've got the dual menus. Most people know this because our XFCE version, the Cinnamon edition, the previous Mate edition, the previous KDE as well also had dual menus. In this one, of course, we switched to the new Synapse on the right, with the more traditional home run kicker on the left. Okay, so and you got the Synapse on the right. Okay, so that's between the two menus. You'll also notice that when I closed the Synapse, it didn't really show the spinning wheel here for sort of a delayed 10 or 20 seconds. That's been fixed, because it used to do that. You used to open up Synapse, when you close it, it would still hover here for like half a minute it was actually very annoying. Okay, so you got the two dual menus. Okay, I'm assuming that everybody at this stage knows that what Synapse and what the normal menu does. Normal menus, traditional Synapse is like a very cool launcher for quick searching files and so forth. You got your system icons on the right. You've got a nice little feed reader over here that shows the latest updates from the website. It's also transparent, so blends in nicely with the desktop. If you click on any of these, it will open it up in Firefox, where you can read the whole page and see any videos or audio related to it. And a simple click and it's gone. So click to open up, click and it's gone. It's very nice for such a small space. It really keeps you up to date on what's going on the Makulu website. So you can remove it if you want, but I mean, it uses such little space that it's really very handy, just to keep up to date. On the left, you've got the favorite icons, shortcuts, or whatever you want to call them. So that's pretty standard there. And then of course the whole idea behind this edition, or what sets this KDE edition apart from every other single KDE edition out there that I know of, is the fact that this one is not built on KWin. This one's built on Compiz. Okay, now I know a lot of guys are used to KWin, and a lot of people like KWin, and KWin is just perfect in blah 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 and fairy tale land and whatever else the case might be. But I have myself, I kind of see advantages to KWin and I see advantages to Compiz, and I don't know, I think it's probably because this has never been done before in such a way that I wanted to be the first to do it. I wanted to rise to the challenge. I know that a lot of people that normally use KDE will point out that Compiz isn't very stable on KDE, and you'd probably be right in a lot of cases, but I've also spent a lot of time making sure it runs stable, so this is very stable. I mean, people that are testing it have said it's very nice. They don't have any crashes. I've been running it on multiple systems now for quite a while, and I haven't had any crashes, and I've put it through its paces, trust me. So this is running Compiz completely. There's no KWin involved. KWin is been completely removed. Not only removed, but it's actually been deleted. You can't even enable it, even if you wanted to. It would take some very, very advanced, experienced user to enable KWin. And I made it like that, especially because I didn't want somebody accidentally enabling it, or some guy that doesn't know what he's doing enabling it, because it will conflict with Compiz, and then there will be hell on the system. And they'll come running to the Makulu forums for me to try and fix the mess. And seriously, such a mess, you'd probably be better off reinstalling. But this is fully Compiz, fully integrated into the system. There's no startup script that starts Compiz with the system or starts Emerald with the system. It's built into the OS. Okay, so it starts up with the OS. It's the default window manager. Okay, so Compiz is fully enabled with effects. So you've got all the bouncy effects and the wobbly effects, as you can see. You've got the animations, you've got the cube, fully functional. You've got the unfolded cube with reflections and shadows. You've even got the cylinder cube, where and this is, remember, this is running in VirtualBox without actual hardware, and fully functional. And you've got Emerald, so you've got this beautiful borders that you can change at any point in time. I use this nice transparent one because it just flows with the rest of the desktop theme. Okay, so Compiz is fully enabled. I mean, this is running as smooth as baby's bottom, if that's actually a real expression. But this is running very smooth, and this is in VirtualBox. It's not even on actual hardware, so you can imagine how the system would run on actual hardware. So yeah, so that's Compiz. That's basically the soul behind this edition. Okay, with that out of the way, I want to move over to the themes. You've got two very nice themes running on the system. Firstly, you've got your user theme. Okay, the user theme is a sort of an off-white kind of it's got a very bright white as a what's this, a field box or whatever, and then you've got a off-white background here. Okay, So, and then of course with the off-white background, you've also got the off blue. I would say, I don't know what blue that's an off blue kind of highlight, you know, so that kind of gives it a very, very sleek look. It kind of just flows with the rest of the system. Okay, and then on top of that, if you actually right click and you go root actions and you open with file manager, and let's enter the root password, now you've got a root theme. Okay, now so the root theme is different to the user theme. Okay, and I'm going to explain in a second why. But the root theme is sort of a light gray, but a darker than the off-white. So the whole theme sort of changes to a sort of a darker of everything. So the light gray, the off-white becomes a light gray, the white becomes a charcoal, and of course the blue highlights become orange highlights. Although it was like a off blue, but this is a very bright orange. Okay, now the reason for that is for the highlights and for the like the radical theme changes, because I want the user to know that he's in root mode. Okay, so for example, when there's like 3 o'clock in the morning or 4 a.m. in the morning and your eyes are tired and your mind is tired and you don't actually realize you're editing something in root and you change something on your system that you don't want to change, it can be a nightmare to fix. Okay, so, and I've been there, trust me, many nights I go to bed 4 or 5 a.m. so I want it to be a bright orange, you know, and dark colors, and then of course because the dark colors are dark, the orange highlights so much nicer. So yeah, so that you know you're in root mode, and whatever you do will cause hassles if you don't watch yourself. Okay, so those are the two different themes. They are designed to sort of blend and meld with the theme, the rest of the desktop, I mean. So so that's pretty awesome. Very, very nice, very sleek. Fonts are nice, the text is clear, very easy to see, just perfect in many ways. There is some transparency on the actual windows themselves as well, even the background menus. Let me just get this better here. The transparency is very slight though. I mean, on a normal background like this you probably won't even see it. Maybe on a dark background with very highlighted colors or very bright colors you'll see it. If you actually look at this right click this context menu here, you'll actually see there, you see that line running through, that's this white line, this border, because it's a very bright white over there. You can kind of see it through the context menu. It's right over there, just in the middle. You can just barely see it. Okay, so there's a lot of transparency, not just on the window borders, but pretty much almost everything on the system's got a different layer of transparency. Some's more transparent, others are less transparent, but you know, there's a lot of transparency happening all over the show, even though you can't see it on the initial on the initial build. You know, at some point in time you're going to enable some kind of wallpaper somewhere, or you're going to have some pop-up and you're going to, oh wow, this is transparent as well, I didn't even know it was. So you're going to see that kind of thing a lot, you know, here and there. So I've spent a lot of time all over the system, not just putting on a border and that was it, you know what I mean. I actually spent time customizing every single inch of the system, even though you can't see it with the naked eye at first. Okay, so even things like the console, you know, as different layers of transparency, different blends and things like that. So it's all been designed to flow. So the whole theme just flows, you know, just really adds to the beauty of the system. Okay, and I know beauty and looks don't really matter to some people, but I take pride in my work and I want people to see that. I don't just want to focus on functionality, because functionality is easy to do. If it wasn't easy to do, you wouldn't have 2,000 distros out there. It's the easiest thing in the world. Well, for a person like me, it's the easiest thing in the world to make a functional distro. You know, it's the graphics part, the bringing it across as, wow, this is a really awesome desktop to have. That's not so easy to do. And that's where I really spend time. I really wanted to look that awesome. Okay, some of the changes in the system is, okay, firstly let me get to the Cashew. Somebody moaned about the Cashew icon on the desktop, and really after actually looking at it for a while it was annoying me as well, so I've removed that from the desktop. You can still add widgets via the Cashew icon at the bottom and then add widgets, or you can right click the desktop and add widgets. I prefer to keep them locked because it puts the menu nicely into the corner. So that functionality is still there, but I did remove the icon. Okay, some of the other fixes was that you could now update the sources. That icon was broken. You can now update the sources directly from over here, so that will nicely and quickly and easily, just like in XFCE and Cinnamon, it will just sort of update the apt cache. Sorry, my net's a little slow, so this will take about a minute or two, but that updates the apt cache quite nicely, so that's pretty awesome. I've also fixed the update manager, which was giving problems. It wasn't asking your root password properly. I've added calc into here, so the calculator's in there. So a couple of updates with softwares. I've added Deadbeef instead of Rythmbox, and VLC player replaces Totem player. Deadbeef I'm not 100% sure about. I'm kind of used to Audacious, but I thought I'd try out Deadbeef and just see how that goes for a few days, see if I prefer it. You guys are welcome to leave comments about that, especially about that. I'd really like to know what audio player the guys prefer. Myself, I'm good either way. Audacious is cool for me. Deadbeef seems to be pretty cool as well, but yeah, I'd like to hear what kind of audio player you guys like. But keep in mind, I'm not trying to push size here, so if it's an audio player that's going to install 50 or 80 megs, I most likely will not put it in. I'm looking for something that's 10, 12, maybe 20 megs big at most. I'm already pushing 1.5 gigs on this ISO, and I really don't want to go much over that if I can help it. So there are a couple of other changes. I fixed a couple of icons in the settings panel. So the printer manager is now showing correctly there, as is the driver manager, so you can sort of check drivers on your system. Just give it a second to refresh there. It will pop up in a second, I'm sure. Just give it a second. Okay, while that's doing the driver thing over there, some of the other changes I made was actually to the installer itself. There we go, it's picking up the VirtualBox guest server driver. So driver manager seems to be functioning fully. Some of the other changes I made, let me just think now. Oh yes, okay, I also added a lot of but some of this I showed in the last video, but I'm just going to go over it again. There's root commands obviously in here. There's other actions like create a project from file with a DVD burner, mount unmount CDs, open terminal, compress files, and of course system security. I just want to go over this. Makulu KDE system comes with both a firewall, so you've got a firewall, built-in firewall that you can enable. It's disabled by default because I don't want to force things like that onto users, but you can simply one-click firewall is on. Okay, so it comes in with a built-in firewall that makes it very secure, and it also comes with a built-in antivirus, which is the Clam AV antivirus. Okay, so that's fully functional. It's got some nice little features, basic features. You can schedule virus scans, set preferences and so forth. You can also right click a file or folder and just scan with Clam AV, so you can scan on demand, so that's pretty nice as well. The default browser is Firefox. Okay, the Conqueror is also on the system, but by default Firefox is the default browser of choice. It is already pre-configured with a few add-ons as well as some speed dials to assist users. Guys that have used XFCE will be very used to this. New guys will, I'm sure, love it, fairly quickly get used to it and love it. The software center is AppGrid. Okay, very awesome software center, very fast, very easy to use. You can navigate pretty much you know, the same way you would on any other system. Okay, let's go back and look here for games. Okay, there's some games, there's Steam games, TuxCard too, and if you select let's select here something, it will actually give you the ratings on the left will give you a description on the right, some screenshot previews, details, and an install button. One click and install. So very nice software center for users to use. It comes with Synapse installed as well, so you can go into Synapse and manage your software from there if you prefer. So that's pretty much the addition at this point in time. Most of the changes I made was back end. I did use the let's see, I think I've put the icon here. Let me just see if it is in here. Just give me a second. I want to I don't think there'll be an icon here. No, it won't be on yet. It will only be in the final build. I wanted to show you guys the new installer, but I'm guessing you'll find out soon enough about that. Anyway, don't stress about that too much, because I did change the installer to a completely different installer, but you'll see that once the final edition's released. Basically, in a nutshell, I was using the Kubuntu installer, or similar to the Kubuntu installer for KDE, and although it was nice, I did find a few bugs with it, and just things that were just annoying me. The interface, I don't know, I just didn't like it all that much. So I readapted the other installer that we used on XFCE to work with KDE, so that the installer that you're pretty much used to, that's pretty much the installer you're going to see, plus a few changes obviously, but yeah, it's pretty much a standard installer, and I spent the last day and a half adapting that, so that's working out of the box as well. So in a nutshell, it's there've been quite a few bug fixes. I can't really mention everything here because I know the list sort of in my head, but it is posted in this video below, so make sure you go check that list and you'll see all the changes that I've made there. It is quite a few for the last 4 days or so. I've barely slept, but the edition is shaping up really nicely. You can see how smooth and how quick this runs, even in on virtual hardware. I mean, it's snappy as hell. It's really going to be awesome. I mean, I can't see KWin running like this. Well, to tell you the truth, KWin won't even show these effects in virtual hardware. They just simply won't switch on because there's no OpenGL support. So out of the box, Compiz already beats it over there. And I know that KWin may have some effects that Compiz doesn't, but Compiz on the other hand has effects that KWin doesn't. So it's a kind of give kind of thing. There is a manager for Compiz for those that don't know Compiz, so you can go and enable a whole bunch of extra stuff here. By the way, somebody asked me about the menu, the gap with the menu. That's very easy. See, I've got a thing here that places Windows center, so when you open a window it opens up in the center of the screen. You can simply untick that and then your menus will open. As you see, it's one tick and your menus will open up at the bottom of the screen. The problem with that is when you open up something new, it will then open in the top corner, not in the center of the screen. So of course, if you don't mind things opening up off center, if the menu bothers you more, then you can simply untick that. Otherwise, just leave it ticked, and that gap really, it doesn't, it's not like it's a deal breaker. In fact, like I said, the screen actually, with the proper resolution, the screen is actually much bigger, so that little gap doesn't really make so much of a difference when you're running this in full screen. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Very awesome edition of KDE, probably one of the best I've ever made. And hopefully probably one of the best you've ever used. I know the people that I've showed it to, or the people that have used it, here at my house, friends and just people in general that have been playing with it, have all been really amazed at how cool it is and how cool it runs. So I know there's a lot of KWin and diehard KWin fans that will be very critical at first, but I think you may just change your mind once you actually run this edition and get the feel for how awesome it is. You may just be a Compiz fan after this. So this is Jacques from MakuluLinux out. I will chat to you guys soon. Make sure you read the changes in that little information box, as I said, and feel free to leave any feedback. I'm always open to suggestions. If there's anything you see that's missing that you think should be in the distro, or something you don't like, please feel free to comment on it, and I will reply. So yeah, cheers.